Hi everyone, huge welcome to this event. So my name's Claire Hughes. I'm Director of Education of the University of York's new Environmental Sustainability Academy, and I'm going to be chairing this event. So this event is in partnership with City College, University of York Europe campus. The University of York and City College, based in Thessaloniki, Greece, have agreed a major strategic partnership. City College, University of York Europe campus is a flagship initiative, and the campus status reflects equivalency in teaching, quality standards, learning resources, and the student experience. The partnership sees York awarding degrees across various subject areas, including English studies, psychology, business administration, and economics and computer science. Elina Ketikidi is the Communication and Digital Manager at Southeastern European Research Centre and is also a PhD candidate at Sheffield University Management School. Her work focuses on millennials' visual attention towards social media posts about sustainability in fashion. Currently, Elina is the co-founder of EVN Virtual, a sustainable fashion brand based on metaverse. We're delighted to welcome Elina to talk to us today about sustainable fashion and social media marketing. The fashion industry is said to be the second biggest global polluter after the oil industry. Sustainable fashion brands want to reduce the impact on the environment, but how can these brands best reach their audiences? So I'll hand over to Elina now to find out how social media can be used to educate consumers about the importance of sustainability in fashion and sustainable living more generally. Elina, welcome.
Hello everyone. Thank you, Claire, for the amazing introduction, and thank you, York Festival Ideas, for having me and giving me the chance to introduce and to talk about my topic, which is about sustainable fashion and social media. Also, I would like to thank each and every one of you on this room for attending. So as Claire mentioned previously, I'm Elina Ketikidi, and the topic that I'm gonna be talking today is about sustainable fashion and social media marketing, how we can promote sustainable fashion through social media. We've talked about who I am, so just briefly and very quickly, a quick sum up about me. Currently, I'm the Digital Communication Manager at Southeast European Research Centre. I was a former LinkedIn account manager of Set, which is a jewelry and watches company. In the past, I was digital account executive at international advertising agency, and also I was the social media marketing consultant at the Fashion Revolution Foundation, which is a foundation that deals with sustainable fashion, and it was established in 2013 regarding the Rana Plaza disaster that almost 1,000 people were killed in this factory. And in this factory, there were fashion brands, fast fashion brands, and there were people working in there. Regarding my education, currently, I am a PhD candidate at the Management School of the University of Sheffield. I'm very glad and happy to share with you that I have submitted my thesis, and I'm waiting for my exam for my Viva, which is the oral examination. And also my master's degree was on digital marketing and social media. So I'm dealing with sustainable fashion and social media overall. So starting with the first slide, just a glimpse of the 21st century and about the fast fashion industry, and just some overview about the population and the overconsumption. So currently, worldwide, we are around 7 billion people living in our planet Earth. However, on 2000, the population is going to be more and more. So we're going to be around 9.7 billion people. Imagine if we continue to overconsume as we do, we will not have enough resources and we will not be able to live sustainably in this planet. So we throw away 1/3 of the food we produce, while there are almost 10, oops, sorry about that. There are almost 10% of the world people that are being unnourished. The global consumption of materials such as fuels, metals are expected to be doubled in the next 30 years. So imagine that they're going to be increased by 70% by 2050. As it was mentioned previously, the fashion industry is considered indeed to be the second global polluter after the oil industry. So there is an emergency here. We should act not today, yesterday. There are a lot of plastic bottles that they are bought every minute, like there are 1 million plastic bottles that they are bought every minute. However, 9% of these plastic are being recycled, whereas 79%, almost 80%, they end up in landfills. And also, there are millions of people, around 80 million people that worldwide, that they are working in the sector of fast fashion, and they are being paid with very low wages, and they are working in very bad environment. Here are some facts about fast fashion that I want to share with you because they're very, very interesting. So the average British woman, they buy and keep at home clothes that they are at the price of, if I can say, the worth of 300 almost pounds, and that they will never gonna wear these clothes. So imagine that's 30 billion of unworn clothes, which is too much. Textiles account for almost 35% of global microplastic pollution, and the clothes that we are buying, we wear these clothes for almost 4 times, whereas we can extend the life of the clothing further, like for 9 or 10 more months. We can wear our clothes for more months, and this will reduce the carbon waste and water footprints by around 20 or 30%, which is a very, very interesting and good amount. Also, another highlight of the facts regarding fast fashion is that in the USA, almost 10.5 million tons of clothing is sent to landfill every year. And in order to have a view of this amount, it's about 30 times as heavy as the Empire State of Building. So imagine that each year clothes end on the landfills. One Empire State of Building ends each year on our landfills. But there are 95% of clothing that can be recycled. And the issue now is that there are many obstacles why people, they don't recycle. The first obstacle is that some clothes are, most basically the slow fashion clothing is more expensive than fast fashion. And also the fast fashion industry, and in general, fast fashion industry is a very fast-paced industry. So it's really challenging to put on this slow fashion and sustainable fashion clothing, and to make people understand the emergency and that we have to have a more sustainable way of living. This is another fact that is very interesting as well, because it takes almost 3 liters of water to create just 1 t-shirt. And in order to imagine this amount, how big this amount of water is the amount of water that a human being normally drinks over 3 years period. So imagine that we need almost 3 liters of water to create 1 t-shirt, which is the amount of water that we drink in 3 years. And tons of textiles end in landfills, as it was mentioned previously. So there is a huge issue with the fast fashion industry. Everything we make returns to the earth, either as a food or as a poison. And our home is our planet Earth. We have no other home than planet Earth. Fashion and textile sector is one of the most polluting and wasteful industries. However, there is lack of transparency and exploitation of people working in the supply chain. And brands and retailers are still not taking enough responsibility. So there are people working in the fashion industry that they are not being paid well, and they are working in a very bad environment. And also, the fast fashion industry is keep on polluting our environment. So if the number of times a garment is worn were doubled, the greenhouse gas emission over its lifetime would be almost 50% lower. We must embrace new ways of enjoying clothes, such as sharing clothes or going to buy clothes from secondhand. And here are some links that you can, in some companies that you can go and visit if you want to share your old clothes or to buy sustainable clothes, or if you want to find clothes that they were worn from other people and you want to buy them. Another thing that caught my attention is that currently we're consuming resources worth for almost 2 planets per year, 1.7 planets per year. And with this pace continues, we will need resources 4 times more than our planet can provide. But we have only 1 planet, so we must act now, we must act yesterday. We must do something in order to educate consumers and in order to communicate how the emergency of embedding sustainability into our lives. Now, some definitions about sustainability, because it's a not clear concept and it's often misunderstood. There are a lot of definitions about sustainability in fashion, and also sustainability is concerned with environmental, social, and economic aspects. However, the definition that I think that it's the most, in my view, it's the most appropriate and it can be easily understood. It's the following. Sustainable fashion can be defined as an abstract idea, producing fashion products based on sustainability values, with a great concern about human working, social conditions, and environmental obligation. So sustainability is concerned in 3 aspects: environmental, social, and economy. And sustainability, it's all over. It's every day in what we are doing, how we are acting. It's a way of living. If we are going to be sustainable, we need to have a sustainable way of living. It's not over-consuming sustainable clothes, because if we are over-consuming sustainable clothes, then we will have the same issues. We should buy less and be more, we should care more about our environment and the people that they are creating our clothes. So the challenge is the following. Sustainable fashion brands want to reduce the impact on the environment, but how can these brands best reach their audiences? Digital marketing and social media are in our everyday lives, and digital marketing enables companies to attract and target specific audience, interact with them, and then they can measure their results through analytics. Also, the budget that they need to spend in digital marketing is way less than in traditional marketing. Another thing about social media is the effectiveness of them, because through analytics you can measure the success or the failure of your campaigns. You can interact with your audience. You can build a networking, and you can talk with your followers each and every day. So you can enrich your brand awareness and engage with your consumers. Online communications enable companies to attract and target a specific audience and interact with them on a daily basis. Now, social media is a tool of digital marketing that helps a lot brands and people communicate to each other. It's an integral part of communication strategy of each company and, of course, of fashion brands. Through social media, we can interact. People can create their own content. They can upload it. They can share your stories. They can share your social media posts. They can be one with you. So it's an easy way to access your consumers and to understand what your audience needs from you and how they are going to be connected with you. So creating an efficient dissemination strategy of online messages about sustainability in fashion will help the fashion brands to engage with a remarkable worldwide target group. But how can we measure and understand consumers' social media behavior towards sustainable fashion? Yes, we can do. The first way to do it is, of course, analytics, Facebook analytics, Google analytics, all social media analytics. So we can get all this useful and fruitful data from our social media accounts and create or improve our social media campaigns. However, there is another way we can do that. Neuromarketing, it's a combination of marketing and neuroscience. Neuroscience provides many tools that we can measure and understand consumers' reactions, emotions. So we can understand what our consumers want to see from us, or if they understand the message that we are communicating. One of these tools, one of the neuroscience tools, is facial coding. So facial coding actually measures the facial movements and the facial muscles. So each time you are watching a horror movie, you might be feel sad or surprised or angry or fear. So this facial coding can measure how the emotions of consumers based on their movements on their faces. Another tool of neuroscience, it's the galvanic skin response. Through galvanometer, this is how it's called, we can measure the slight changes in skin. So whenever we watch a horror movie, for instance, we might be sweaty, our hands might be sweaty. This means that we are afraid or we are excited. So we can measure again emotions, a behavior, through this neuroscience tool. Another very useful neuroscience tool that is being used for years from brands like Coca-Cola, it's the EEG, the electroencephalogram. This device analyzes and registers the brain's electrical activity using a handbag, as the one you can see on your right, that houses a collection of small sensors. And through these small sensors, we can analyze and collect data from the brain waves. So the neurons that they are on our brain, when we are happy or when we are sad, when we are afraid, they have different movements and different waves on our brain. So through these brain waves, we can get an amazing information about how our consumers feel when they watch our digital campaign or a video or our YouTube videos of our brand. But the most important thing we can measure through one of the most important things we can measure is the visual attention, because through social media we cannot taste, we cannot smell, but we can measure the vision, the visual attention, which starts from the movement of the eyes when they receive light signals. The eye movement is a way to measure visual attention, and neuroscience gives this opportunity to us to measure visual attention through a device which is called eye tracker. The eye tracker can be portable, so we can put it on our desktop or on our laptop, or it can be glasses, the eye tracker glasses. Through the eye tracking, we can measure the movement of the eye and the journey of the eye and what attracted most participants or consumers' attention. So here's an example of eye tracking data. So on your left, you can see the time to first fixation, which means we can measure the journey of the eye. Where did our eyes went when they are observing a social media post, when they're observing a video on YouTube? So we can see exactly the journey of the eye. In the middle, we can see the fixation duration, which means that through the eye tracker, we can measure for how long someone saw something. So for instance, for how long our eyes remained on a specific point, or on the brand, or on the hands, or on our product. And on the right, excuse me, we can see it's called heat map. So through this map, we can see what attracted longer the attention of the eyes. So the red spots, are the points that attracted for a longer duration participants' attention or consumers' attention. The greener one, or the lighter green, or the yellow ones, are the points that attracted for a less pure duration participants' visual attention. Here are some real examples that I got from my PhD thesis, from my research that I have done recently. So I used some social media posts from some sustainable fashion brands, or from some fast fashion brands, that they were trying to communicate sustainability in fashion. So I had some specific areas of interest, which were the visuals, the captions, the text, also the engagement metrics, which were the shares, the likes, because I wanted to know if people are being attracted by the high number of likes, and also the logo of the brand. And as you can see here, the points that attracted for a longer duration participants' eyes are the text. And this happens not only because the text was interesting, but this happens because text needs more cognitive load in order to be understood, in order to be digested, if I can say, by the brain. So people needed more time to read, so they remained on the text for a longer duration. However, from the interviews, I have found out that the area of interest that attracted faster participants' attention were the visuals, because humans, we want to have the information quickly, and we don't want to have information and to be overloaded. So visuals and videos, it's something that attracts faster participants and consumers' visual attention. So how we can be more sustainable and how we can embrace sustainability. First of all, it would be good to avoid trends. So whenever we buy a t-shirt or a skirt or whatever, we should not wear it just for once. It would be good to wear it like for more than 1 year, or the more the better. So we should avoid trends, first of all. The second is we can shop secondhand and vintage. There is nothing wrong to buy clothes that they were worn from other people. However, this is something that I love with secondhand clothing, is that these clothes have a history. They were worn by several people, so I wear clothes that have history on them. Also, we can buy directly from creators. We can support minimalism, slow fashion items. They might be more expensive, but you don't need to buy as much when you know they will last. Also, we should wash less. Sometimes it is enough to air out clothes or partially remove stains before putting them in the washing machine. And if we are washing, we should choose on cold, or we can skip dry cleaning. Also, it will be nice to repair our clothes and not just throw them away. If you don't have the time or the skills, you can also take your clothes to your local tailor, who should be able to repair your clothes. We should choose mostly standard shipping, and we can rent our clothes. There is nothing better than sharing. Sharing is caring, so we can rent our clothes, and we can have a more sustainable way of living, and we can be more friendly to our environment and to the people that they are creating our clothes. So ending, to sum up, here is a slide that I would like to show to you with some icons. And with a storytelling, I would like to briefly sum up what I was told previously on this presentation. So everyone wants to buy clothes. We need clothes in our everyday lives in order to live. But the overconsumption is something that has damaged our environment and our planet. So we need to stop the overconsumption, because there are people that they are creating a clothes with very low wages in very bad conditions, and we are being harmful to our environment, where we can just buy some clothes, the ones that we need. So this can be communicated through digital marketing, and especially through social media, because we can interact and we can spread the message in a very, very big population. And this can be measured. We can measure how our campaigns are, if they are effective or if they're not, through the social media analytics. But we can go more in depth through neuroscience techniques, for instance, through eye tracking or through some interviews, and we can ask our consumers questions about their knowledge about sustainable fashion, and if they're buying sustainably. So by using social media and neuromarketing, we can communicate the importance of sustainability in fashion, and we can understand what people believe about sustainable fashion, and we can move towards a more sustainable way of living. So these are my contact details. If you wish to contact me, or if you have any questions, please feel free to find me on LinkedIn or send me straightforward an email. Thank you very, very much for your attention. I hope that this was a presentation that you got the information and it was interesting enough, and it was clear, and I didn't create confusion to your minds. So thank you for your attention, and thank you for being here today.
Thanks so much, Elina, for a really interesting and very clear presentation. So huge thank you. We do have a few comments and questions in the chat, so I'll just run through those now. So we have a comment saying that this attendee is happy to see that Love Island have ditched their partnership with fast fashion brand Boohoo in favour of eBay. So that seems like a really great development. So we have another question, which is, how can sustainable fashion businesses promote repairing, reusing, second-hand buying, etc., while still selling their own products?
So thank you for this question. It's a very interesting question. The sustainable fashion brands, in order to be sustainable, they need to have the whole supply chain needs to be sustainable. So from the very first material of production until the shipping or the packaging, everything needs to be sustainable. So it's not easy for sustainable fashion brands to do so, but with slow steps, they can embed sustainability in their company. And it's more hard for fast fashion industries. For instance, for Zara or H&M, that there are some people that say that they just claim that they are sustainable, but they are not. They're just doing it they're greenwashing, and that's doing it for marketing marketing in order to sell more. So it's very hard. We need to, first of all, to educate people and to communicate the importance of sustainability, and to make people understand that the overconsumption it's not leading anywhere. So if people buy clothes that they are sustainable and they overconsuming sustainable clothes, whatever the sustainable fashion brands will do, we will remain at the same point. So in order to reply to the question, the sustainable fashion brands need to have an expert about sustainability in their company in order to advise them what to do, and to have a more sustainable supply chain. So they need someone that they should be an expert on that.
Fantastic, thanks, Elina. Okay, so we'll move on to another question. So does any of your research highlight ways in which sustainable fashion brands can stand out on social media, often amongst larger businesses with more resources and ability to research?
So if I understood correctly, the question was if the fashion brands are communicating in an effective way their sustainable profile. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's about how the sustainable fashion brands can actually stand out against these larger corporations.
So this is something that it can be done with a good social media strategy. So that's why we need to first understand our consumers and our followers. If we are moving on towards the right direction. So what I would like to say is that we need to create social media posts and social media strategy that will attract the attention of the eye so we can communicate the importance of sustainability. So there are some brands that they are creating a large social media campaigns with a lot of money, but they might be not effective because, for instance, the logo might not be in the right position. Just saying. So we must learn from the analytics, from the social media analytics and from the neuromarketing tools, what attracts the attention of the eye and what consumers can digest easily of what we are trying to disseminate. So first we need to make a good research, and then we should move towards to create effective campaigns that they will attract and they will communicate the importance of sustainability and the actions that the fashion brands are doing towards sustainability.
Great, thanks, Elina. So if they've got the right strategy, then they should be able to stand out. So that's great, thank you. So we have another really interesting question from Karen. How do you combat the power of brands for teenagers who like to be part of a group?
Of the group of sustainable fashion, or what group?
Yes, so this is about, so teenagers like to be wearing the same clothes as their friends, for example, or like to be wearing a particular brand of clothing. So how do we combat that?
So this is a very nice question indeed, because millennials, Generation Y and Generation Z, they want to consume. They were the generation that they are consuming, and they are over consuming because that's the way they were born. That's how they learn to do it. So this generation is very hard. That's the challenge that I mentioned, because the younger generation wants to consume more. They want to be trendy. They want to wear clothes that they're fashionable. They want to stand out. So it's very hard to embed sustainability in the fashion industry, and especially to bring the younger generation into a more sustainable way of living. So what we can do is we should communicate the importance of sustainability in fashion and the emergency, because there's no so the more we communicate the importance, the bad impact of the fast fashion, we can create campaigns that they will talk the language, if I can say, of younger generations. So we should come closer to them, and we should say, you can buy this one piece of item, and you can wear it for a longer duration, and you can still be fashionable. You can still be, you can still stand out. You don't need to buy 5 of these. You can just buy 1 t-shirt and you can stand out. So it's a matter again of strategy and how we can get closer and how we can talk the language of Generation Y and Z.
Sure. Yeah, great. So it's sounding like the move towards sustainable fashion almost needs a bit of a cultural change as well, I think. So great. Okay. Yeah, so Sophie asks a really interesting question here. We all know that sustainable clothing is often more expensive than the fast fashion clothing. So how can we make sustainable fashion be more accessible, more widely accessible, particularly to those in lower income areas?
That's one of the most important issues about sustainable fashion clothing, because slow fashion is indeed more expensive than fast fashion. That's why we are consuming fast fashion products, fast fashion clothing, because we want to change our clothes with with less money. So what we can do is, this should be done in a holistic way. And what I mean by saying holistic way is that all fashion brands need to go on the same path, need to be sustainable. Because if a brand sells with lower price and another brand sells sustainable fashion clothes with higher price, then the sustainable fashion brands, they will not be sustainable, because they will not be able to increase their profits and to be sustainable. So this is something that should be done in a more holistic way. All brands, there should be a law, if I can say, that they should, every fashion brand should follow this the same path and to follow the law, because otherwise it will be unfair and people will still buy clothes with lower prices. Why not? I mean, it's a common sense. So it should be something that should be done from all fashion brands.
Great, thanks, Elina. So I have a really great question for you from Stella, which follows on really nicely from that. So in your opinion, do you think more and more fashion brands are embracing sustainability?
Yes, that's true. There are more and more fashion brands that they are trying to embed sustainability in their strategy. However, there is consumers, from my research, I found out that consumers they don't trust fashion brands. There is a lack of transparency. So it's very good that more and more fashion brands, they are trying to be sustainable. However, there is a lack of transparency. So they should provide and they should show to their customers through videos or through campaigns each and every step of their sustainable process, because we need to create trust between consumers and sustainable fashion brands.
Great, thank you. And another really great linked question as well from Karen. So which brands or companies do you think are leading the way in terms of sustainable fashion?
So one of my favorite brands, it's called Patagonia. It's a brand that I do love because I follow Patagonia on social media and on our website, and I see that from a consumer's viewpoint that that they build this trust that I'm looking for. They have this transparency that I'm looking as a consumer. So if I trust the brand and if I see every step of their sustainable process and every step of the production of the clothing, so afterwards I will want to buy the product, even though it might be the price, it will be high, but I will want to, even if I can say, to help this brand, this fashion brand, to move forward, because I want to congratulate their work. So Patagonia is one of the sustainable fashion brands that I love and I follow on social media.
Fantastic, that's great, because one of the attendees actually commented further up in the questions list that they love Patagonia as well. So yeah, that's great, thank you. Okay, so now thinking about the other side of the coin, do you think big fashion shows that feature designer brands are actually fueling fast fashion?
They do. Actually, they do. So fashion shows at the moment, except from some exceptions like Stella McCartney, they are creating fast fashion, because still fast fashion is selling a lot, because people have this mindset, this way of living, to buy more with lower price. So the brands, as far as people consuming fast fashion, they will keep on creating fast fashion products and clothing, and they will be doing fast fashion shows. So as consumers, we have the responsibility to stop this, and we should do this all together, because as long as we buy from the fast fashion companies, they will keep on create fast fashion shows, clothes, products, and we will still consume them. So we should act as a team. Everyone should, even with small steps.
Great, yeah, and yeah, thank you. And another follow-up question, really. So, do you think social media culture, such as influencers, trends, clothing hauls, feed into the idea of fast fashion? And how can social media develop to change this?
Yeah, that's a really nice question as well. So as a social media user, what I see is that the influencers are being divided into two categories. So the ones that they are still promoting fast fashion, and the other ones that they are trying to promote sustainable fashion. So we are in between. I can see the lights, but we are not there yet. So there is a lot of work to be done, because as long as we consume and we consume fast fashion, there are going to be influencers, and there are going to be brands that they are paying these influencers to create posts with fast fashion. So we are not there yet, but we have made a start. So this is something.
Great, thank you. So yeah, another question in from Janie. So are there any resources about what are the effective social media strategies that would be attractive to the eyes?
What I have found from my research through the eye tracking experiments is that visuals is everything. If you create a video, short video, because long videos are not effective. If you create a short video with nice visuals and with a good sense of music, or if you create social media visuals that they attract the attention of the eye, then you have more than 60% of the attention. So if you attract the attention from the visual, then the follower will go and read your text, your caption. And if your caption is interesting, then they might want to learn more about your brand or what you are doing towards sustainability. So for me, and from my research, what I have found is that visuals the pictures, the videos are the more important facts in a social media strategy. So when we are creating a social media strategy, we should be very careful on the visuals in what we are creating. We should be creative.
Great, thank you. So question from Edgar. So should sustainable companies start reporting their sustainable efforts by means of sustainability reports or impact reports?
Yes, that's a good point, because sustainable fashion brands should note out that they should communicate to their consumers and to their customers that they are sustainable. So reports and certificates that they are sustainable, they should be shown from the sustainable fashion brands in order to create this the transparency that it was mentioned previously. And it is very important to create also fashion brands that can create collaborations with WWF, BAF, in order to create this trust that it was mentioned previously. So certificates, reports, it's very important to be on the website or to be uploaded on social media. It's something that it will help a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it'd be great to see that. So we don't have any other questions in the Q&A at the moment, but yeah, I'd encourage attendees to add their questions if they have any. So whilst everybody's thinking, I actually have a question for you, Elina. So what are your thoughts on greenwashing in sustainable fashion? What are the things we should look out for in that regard?
Greenwashing is something that is happening at the moment, because it's like a trend. Sustainable fashion at the moment, it's like a trend. So people, brands, they think that if they are telling to their consumers, if they're communicating and disseminating sustainable messages, that in that way they will bring more people to their brand and they will have more profits, which is not the point. The point is to stop the overconsumption and to have a more sustainable way of living. So yes, greenwashing does exist, and especially it exists from fast fashion brands like Zara, that they are trying to say that they are sustainable, but they have only some collections that they are sustainable. So the other clothes are being made with unsustainable ways. So with materials that they are not friendly to their environment, and they are still using people that they are not being well paid. They are working in a very hard and bad condition. So greenwashing is something that exists, unfortunately. But I hope that in the future, this will not be just for marketing. This will not be something that brands will use for marketing and in order to increase their profits.
Yeah, and what should the consumer look out for when they're trying to identify whether greenwashing is happening?
So actually, they should go for brands that they are sustainable, not for brands that they are half sustainable and half fast fashion. So if they want to live a more sustainable life and to buy clothes that they will be 100% sure that they are sustainable and they will not harm our environment, and they should go for brands that they are sustainable, such as Patagonia, or for instance, Stella McCartney, that they are not using animals in order to create clothes. So that's my suggestion. So you should go for brands that they are sustainable and not fast fashion that they want to be sustainable.
Yeah, are there any resources that the consumer can access which tell us which are the most sustainable brands that experts have decided are the most sustainable?
Yes, these are the certificates that they might have on there. You can look for certificates on their websites. Also, there are some videos that they are explaining what they are doing. So Patagonia is one example. They're using, they show through videos, through small, if I can say, movies, the whole process of the production. So this is something that it can help the consumers, except from the certificates and the reports, to buy and to be not 100% sure, but to see that they are doing something towards sustainability. Because at the end of the day, you cannot be sure for anyone or anything, but this is something that you can look for, the certificates, the reports, and through videos or visuals that they are showing that they are doing something towards sustainability.
Okay, that's really helpful. Thank you, Elina. We do have some more questions in the Q&A now, so I'll move across to those. One of our attendees is wondering if there are any materials that we should be avoiding.
In terms of materials, I'm not an expert on textiles, so I cannot be 100% sure which textiles are more harmful than others. But from what I have researched and read and through all these years, it's that cotton needs, a t-shirt made out of cotton, it needs a lot of water and a lot of energy to be created and to be produced. So, but you can look for eco-friendly materials, and you can search out for these materials that they are not harmful for the environment. But I cannot say can be 100% sure about the textiles and the materials, because I'm not an expert.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. So one more question. So do you think there's been a country that could serve as a good example to support and promote sustainable fashion for other countries to follow?
Yes, we can say that Sweden is one of the countries that they are embracing sustainability in fashion. And H&M, it was a fast fashion company in the future, but now they are for real. They are doing. They are moving towards sustainability, and one, it can be a role model. Sweden, in my point of view, of course, Sweden is a country that it moves towards sustainability. But as I said previously, the high price of sustainable fashion clothes, it can be afforded from every country or from every citizen in the world, because if you are not paid well, you cannot just buy a t-shirt for 60 euros or 80 euros if your wage is too low. So it depends. Sustainability, embracing sustainability and being sustainable, it depends on the country you're living, to be 100% real and precise with you. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's a great answer. Thank you. So another one of our attendees is struggling to find how to recycle old garments and was wondering if you have any advice on how to best recycle textiles.
I don't know the participant from which country he or she is, but there are some booths on H&M that you can put there your clothes on a bag, and you can put them on these beings that they are recycling the clothes. Other than that, there are the secondhand shops that you can give them your clothes. However, from my experience, because currently I live in Greece, there are not a lot of places that you can recycle your clothes. We are years behind in terms of sustainability. But in the UK or in Sweden or in other countries, they do. There are a lot of places that you can recycle your clothes. And also on my presentation, I don't know if you're going to share this presentation with the participants, I have some links with some platforms that you can put there your clothes, and you can get something else. So you put your old clothes and then you get some money and buy something else from that platform. So there are online platforms that they are do recycle clothes. And I have some links on one of my slides of my presentation.
So we just have time, I think, for one last question. So what's your opinion on buying fast fashion secondhand, e.g. through eBay?
Fast fashion secondhand, it's still overconsumption for me, because fast means more for me. So fast fashion, because whenever the price is low, you feel that need to buy more clothes, because you say to yourself, oh, this t-shirt, it's very fancy and it costs only 10 euros. I will buy 3 of them. This is an amazing offer. Why not? So the low prices is something that might be tricky sometimes. So when you see low price, just tell to yourself, even to buy one of that piece, or something wrong is being done behind this, because you cannot buy a t-shirt for like 5 euros. How this t-shirt has been made, from which hands, it's a bit tricky. The low prices are a bit tricky, so we should be a bit careful.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Elina. Okay, well, I think we'll leave it there with the questions. So I just want to say huge thanks to you, Elina, for what has been a really fascinating session. This is a topic that clearly generates a lot of interest, but huge thanks also to our attendees for all their really fascinating questions as well. We very much hope that you'll continue to be engaged with York Festival of Ideas, and you can click on our website, yorkfestivalofideas.com, for full details of all of the events in the festival programme. We'd love to hear your thoughts on these events and continue the conversations using the hashtag York Ideas. So thanks again, everyone, for attending.